Hi everyone, it's Dr. Hinson here, one of the good doctors of Abbey Research, and I'm here today with a video called An Introvert's Guide to Surviving the Holidays. I am donning my introvert hat, which I wear all the time, but only sometimes when I'm talking to you guys. So I'm gonna be giving my top 5 tips for my fellow introverts out there for surviving the holidays. It's the second week of December as I am talking to you, which means we're coming up to holiday parties, office parties, shopping excursions, craft fairs, you name it. Lots of things that are going on towards the end of the year in a celebratory fashion that can be really exhausting for introverts. So for those of you that don't know the difference between introverted and extroverted, it comes down to how they process energy. So Dr. Donnelly is a fairly stereotypical extrovert, which means that she gains energy from social interaction, from being out with friends, from socializing, from talking to people, from going to pubs, to going out to eat. All of that kind of stuff energizes Dr. Donnelly. For introverts, like yours truly, all of that drains energy. And where extroverts recharge through other people, through engaging with other people, introverts recharge on their own. In isolation, from the comfort of our own sofas, usually with our cats. And that's the difference between how they process energy. So that's really important to understand. So if that's how you feel about social interaction or things that take energy from you, the holidays can be a really daunting period. Introverts can also be drained by lots of forms of external stimuli, which is a fancy way of saying lights, noises, groups of people, all of those things, crowded spaces. I've been taking my mother to craft fairs through the start of the holiday season, and that's really draining for me. And when I come home, I have to be on my own for a little bit so that I can recharge, because there's so many people shopping and vendors talking and music playing and lights flashing and all of that kind of stuff. So back to my 5 tips for surviving the holiday season if you're an introvert. Tip number 1, communicate. For a long time, I don't think introverts really talked about how they felt differently about these types of events or how they reacted differently to these types of events. Most introverts, myself included, for most of my life, I pretended to be extroverted. I felt bad that I didn't feel like hanging out with my friends, or I didn't have the energy to go to parties, and so I would go anyway and just kind of fake it till I make it. And it was exhausting, and I wasn't being myself. So it's really important to communicate, find a way to talk about your introversion that works for you and that works for your friends. As soon as I started reading about and learning about my introversion, probably 3 or 4 years ago, and communicating that to my friends, it became a lot easier to just say, hey, you know what? I need some introvert time on my own tonight. And my friends were really understanding about it because they knew it was about taking care of myself, not about rejecting them or rejecting the social situation. So that's really, really key. It can also help to have a buddy if that's in your office environment who understands that you're an extrovert or an introvert, and can help communicate that your needs to other people and help, be your friend that you can say, hey, can you just come outside with me and have a conversation? I need to take a break from the party. So tip number 1, communicate. Tip number 2, preparation. You will see from my notes here, even on this talk, introverts require a lot of preparation. We like to think things through. We need to. That's how our brains work. So prepare for the events that you're going to in advance. Give yourself time to rest leading up to it. And a lot of introverts, myself included, struggle with small talk. We tend to daydream a lot. We tend to get distracted by our own thoughts, and we take a lot of time to think things through. So a lot of that can seem like we're not very good at small talk or, kind of ordinary chats that you would have at these social events. So Google some ideas for fun conversation starters. It's possible to have a conversation that is small talk without asking someone what their plans are for the holiday. And you can use some of these questions as a way to get to those more in-depth conversations or detailed conversations that introverts actually like having. So that's number 2, preparation. Number 3 is planning. So be conscious of how you're scheduling the events. Leave yourself time and space before and after. Don't schedule 3 or 4 in a row. Most introverts know this, but a lot of times you can feel pressure into attending them and sign up for these things. A lot of times I'll say yes to an event months in advance. Oh yeah, I'd love to do that with you. And sometimes on the day of, I'll have to say, you know what, I really don't have the energy for this because of whatever's happened during the week. So for introverts, that means do a lot of online shopping. If shopping for holiday presents drains you, try and do as much of it from the comfort of your own home. I've done most of my holiday shopping from this very chair. And it means that I have energy reserved for other activities that I like doing. And organize events, plan events for yourself. So say to a friend, you know what, I'm not going to have enough energy to go to that Christmas party next week, but I'd love to get lunch with you sometime during the week, so that your friends and your coworkers and your loved ones know that you want to spend time with them, you want to see them, but sometimes it needs to be on your terms. So plan the activities, and then you can have more control over what's going on and how you feel about it and how energized you feel about it. So step number 3 is planning. Step number 4, boundaries. Set some boundaries for yourself, people. Say no. It is okay to say no to things. And if I'm the first person to tell you that this week, you're welcome. It's okay to say no. Make sure that you set limits to all the things that you are engaging in and saying yes to, so that you can preserve your energy. Maybe that means arriving late to things, or leaving early so that you limit the time that you're at these events. And taking breaks while you're at them as well is really, really important. So if you just need to go hide out in the toilet stall for 10 minutes, because I've done it, just to take a breath and to get some alone time so that you can, go back out to that cocktail hour, do it. Make sure you set those boundaries. So number 4 is boundaries. Number 5, and my last tip for surviving the holidays is self-care, which I talk a lot about anyway, as you will know, dear Abby Research watchers. So whatever that means for you, make sure you fit that into your schedule of never-ending social events and holiday parties and cookie making activities, and now I'm just listing things that are in Hallmark movies, but you understand what I'm talking about. Gingerbread competitions and ice skating and all of the cool things that you can do. Make sure you take time to do your yoga or watch a movie or read a book or sit on your own, meditate, go to the gym, punch a punching bag. Whatever your self-care is for you, whatever it is, make sure that you make time for that as well. Protect yourself so that you have enough energy to commit to all of these events and so that you can enjoy them. One of the biggest myths about introverts is that we don't like to socialize. We just socialize differently. And introversion and extroversion is a spectrum like everything else. So some people are more introverted than others. So depending on what that looks like for you, or if you're an extrovert watching this for your loved ones, make sure that you have whatever you need so that you can enjoy the time with your friends and family. You can enjoy the office celebrations. A lot of these holidays coming up are here to celebrate. We're celebrating a lot of things at the end of the year, and that should be joyous. But for us introverts, that means making sure we have enough energy to be joyous before we do. So that is the Introvert's Guide to Surviving the Holidays from yours truly, resident introvert, professional introvert, Dr. Hinson, one of the good doctors of Abby Research. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season and looks after themselves and enjoys the time that they have with their friends and their family and their colleagues. Take care, everybody.